Yeah. Well, we'll start with my username is F.Lapinski, and it's gone by a lot of different names. People call me Lap for short or Lipinski. Doesn't matter. I was the captain of Animal House, and now I am just I don't know. I'm just a player now. Being the captain of Animal House is one thing that most people know me from. You know, leading our team to be in the top, I think, five since I've been a captain for multiple seasons now. And as well as I started my own non-profit focused organization called VR Charity Tournaments, VRCT for short. I think it's been 7 years now. I started playing. It's funny. James Boak and I bought Onward on the exact same day 7 years ago, and we hadn't even known each other, but we did find that out. So it's been about 7 years since I started playing Onward. To be honest, I wanted something that was badass, so I took like a spirit animal test online. And the first one was like a dolphin, and I was like, well, I can't take that. First off, it's not, you know, it's not available. Ocean Dolph already had that one, so then I had to find another one, and then it gave me like a panda, and I was like, I'm not a fan of the panda, but I like the bear concept, so I was like, let's just go with like a grizzly bear, and that's what I stuck with. Well, I would say the only thing that comes to mind is that the very first round of our match, we pretty much would always do the Macarena. I don't know where it started from, but Steven on our team was like, let's do the Macarena. And we all got into it. We would Macarena at the start of every match. And I think that was kind of like our traditional ritual that we did for, seasons to come. It kind of stuck with us. And even to this day, we've always done like a Macarena here and there. But a lot of times more recently, we've been so focused on the plan and the game, we haven't done the Macarena as much. So I think that kind of like phased out when the original Animal House crew kind of, left the scene. So for a long time on Animal House, we've discussed that if I had ever left the team, the whole team would disband. And for that reason alone, it's what's kept me in the scene for so long. I felt like maybe about 4 or 5 seasons ago, I was pretty much ready to end it. I was done with Onward, but my team had been there for me for so long and have kept whatever spark I had left in Onward alive. And I knew that if I had left, then they would too. And no one else on the team was ready to leave and to end. And so for that reason, that group effort is what kept Animal House alive. But a few weeks ago, honestly, maybe like a month or two ago, we all had a lot of doubts, and we weren't sure if we were really wanting to play season 17. For partially, we decided that either we're gonna give it all, or we're just, we're gonna retire. And for the first few weeks, we were trying our best to give it our all, but a few of our players felt like it wasn't enough. And eventually, this morning, I called Wicked, and I said, "Hey," I was like, "Is this time?" And he's like, "I think we're done. I think our time has ended here, and I think our drive is over." So that is when I decided for our team that it'd be a disservice for a captain who didn't have any more energy left to keep playing for Animal House. And so I decided that both Wicked and I were both done with Animal House. Quacko was done with Animal House. That's 3 players. And that left with only 3 left because we're a team of 6 here. So that is pretty much when I made the decision to disband. And then later we found out Downpour also kind of felt the same, that he could tell that this team wasn't going to have that drive to finish the season. So it wasn't entirely a unanimous vote, but I think it was still the right decision for Wicked and I to hang up Animal House. Research and tracking down the statistics. So if I'm going to play against an opponent, I try to watch back as much footage as I can of them. I try to figure out how they like to play, what spots they go in, and then I try to also keep track of, my guys. Okay, who's better at what maps? And I try to utilize my players on the maps that they're strongest and take them out on their weakest maps. And I have that information. I've got over 80 different matches on record. I have over a few thousand rounds from each player that show their kills, their deaths on what map against what team. If I pulled up Most Wanted and I looked at all of our players, I could say, oh, Wicked has the most kills against Most Wanted with a click of the button, or I have the most deaths against them. I have all that information kept down. If I wanted to, I could leak hundreds of strats of playbooks from other teams. Honestly, that's one way just to keep up with the meta. When something new changes, still resort back to your roots of, who's better at what maps, but also take the time to free roam them. If a new map comes out, free roam it. Try to be the team that knows it best before everyone else. It's how we win our custom map tournaments. We research the maps, we find the best lines to hold, we find new angles people don't know about, and then we try to be smart about it. If we know we're getting casted, we won't use those lines unless we really have to. If we're starting to lose ground, we'll might use them. But we try to take all of our good information, all of our good strategies, and we try to hold it off when we're not getting casted. That way people can't research us and use it against us as well. Making it on stage in Denver, just getting there was definitely my proudest moment. That's tough. I think that for all of Onward related things, I think just spending the time in Denver, I remember after we had lost on stage, we invited the whole team Proteus over to our Airbnb, and we had a party. We had them over, we had some other players outside of the two teams that came over. I got Proteus a nice gift, congratulating them, and we all just had a great time. I know, like, the next night, we had another, just spending time in Denver together. For anyone that's watching this and you're debating on going to VR MelCon, do it. It is so much fun to not just hang out with people that like the same game as you, but people that you've never met that you've been playing with for years. We played paintball there was 40 of us from Onward playing paintball, and it was so much fun. So the entire Denver trip is definitely one of my favorite moments of all time, Onward related. As nice as that would be, I just can't afford it. I have too many things going on during the summer, and I won't be able to take the time off work and spend the money to get out there. But I do hope to still meet up with people from the community, and hopefully, one day maybe I can host my own little LAN. Not for a tournament wise, but just have people in the community come meet up, where I am, and just hang out for the weekend. I think that in its own would just be as much worth it. In my opinion, I felt like Jizzy Pants was the best player of all time. He's someone who just knew how to play the game, and he did a really good job at it. I think he's probably the best player of all time. And if I had to say a close second, James Boak. Wicked Hex, easily. He is definitely the most Animal House out of anyone that's been on the team for sure. Wicked Hex, ever since I've been on Animal House, he's definitely made the most sacrifices for this team, and he's always been there for anyone. He'll hop on map 3 if he has to and play. He'll sub out first, and he'll take the whole night off just to be here for the team, and he'll do what it takes to practice. So easily Wicked Hex is definitely the best Animal House teammate. Watch casts. You learn so much from watching others who are better than you. It's one thing that every athlete does is they watch footage. They watch what the others are doing, not just to know how to beat them, but also how to be like them. And that's the one thing that you're gonna do that's gonna make you better than everyone else, is knowing how your enemy plays, but also how to do better than what they're doing. So watch back all the casts you can. Doesn't matter from where. Kai, the team Kai, based off of the Cobra Kai martial arts team, Kai made a nonprofit custom map tournament, and it had a few teams sign up, and they raised some money for it. And I thought it was a great idea, and I thought, that's really cool, that they made a little charitable event. Um, and that was their only one that they made. Maybe they made a second one, but I don't remember it. And I thought, um, let me see here. I thought that they could have done a few more. I think they could maybe had larger prize pools, but I didn't do anything at the time until one person messaged me and said, "Hey, do you want to help me make a charity tournament?" And I said, "Well, when is it?" And he said, "I don't know." I'm like, "Well, what's the game mode?" "I don't know yet." "Well, what's the charity?" "I don't know." And I'm like, "What do you know?" He's like, "Well, let's just do it." And I'm like, all right. And I only said okay because I just want to see kind of where this would go. And he brought in 5 people into a Discord and then disappeared. Never heard from him again. But I thought, well, I have 5 people who kind of agreed to the idea of a charity event. So I said, let me see what I can do with it. I reached out to multiple sponsors. I made up a format. I found a date, and I started advertising. And I had like $5,000 in a prize pool, and we raised thousands of dollars for Stack Up, and that's kind of what started it. Was just one guy who's like, hey, let's do something, and then disappeared, and I just took over. And then I just like, you know what, this was really successful, let's keep it going, let's do more. The tournament that raised the most money was our Game Pink tournament. We had raised over $6,000 for National Breast Cancer Foundation. And our goal was only 5,000, so that was like a huge benchmark for us to overcome. We had a lot of players as well, and for those of you who don't understand what National Breast Cancer Foundation is, all the money that you receive, it goes to help patients who are diagnosed with breast cancer as a system of support, giving them access to resources that they don't normally have when they are diagnosed with breast cancer. So we had a lot of people within the community who actually had breast cancer, and this was one of our voted upon nonprofits. So we made a community vote with multiple different nonprofits, and we asked for our community to make votes on what nonprofit would they like to see funded for our next tournament. And National Breast Cancer Foundation had a lot of votes, and a lot of people reaching out saying how they also personally experienced breast cancer and are currently battling it or have already beaten it. So, and in my family, I have 2 family members that have also experienced breast cancer and have beaten it as well. But I do know that kind of toll that it can take on them as well. So I was really happy that we could fight for that cause, and for the hundreds of different people who were diagnosed that were able to battle that. So I'm very glad that we did that tournament and that we raised that much money for it. It was a huge accomplishment. It's a tough question. I'm gonna say right now, no. It really just depends on what kind of time commitment I can even make and in what capacity. If I want to try to take it serious again and join a team like Classified, or if I just want to goof around. And in that case, I'd probably just join like a bronze team and just want to, top frag every match. But right now, I'm gonna say no. I can't see myself joining back, at least not right now. So that's something that I'm discussing right now with my staff at the VR charity tournaments. I feel like I don't have a lot of time to offer, so I feel like if I do help, it would be in a formatting aspect. But I think I'm gonna try to find someone that I can pass on the ownership to for VR charity tournaments. Yeah, I have an amazing girlfriend that I spend a lot of time with, and I know she's going to be happy to hear that I don't have to play Onward every night anymore. I do a lot of golf. I try to play at least a few times a week. Um, I work in two positions, so I manage a pro shop at my local country club, and that's what I do full time. And I also work as a marketing coordinator for a real estate firm, a veteran owned real estate firm in my area. So I do a lot of the listing photography, videography, drone stuff, as well as I make marketing campaigns with them. And I'm also currently still in college. I've got just one semester left, and I'll have my degree in business management with a minor in marketing. I also enjoy playing pool. I like hanging out with my friends, playing cornhole, and just really enjoying, Michigan summers. Um, just want to say thank you guys. This Onward community has been a big part of my life for 7 years, and I've made so many friends, so many family, and like it's crazy to think that you can make these relationships in a video game. I mean, I've been to a wedding, and I've gone to Disney, I've been to Universal, I've gone to California, I've gone to Denver. I go bowling, I go golfing with you guys from Onward, and it's the one thing that I think everyone wants here is to have a family like that, through Onward. And I'm so grateful I got to, have that and still have it even after I leave, the game. I mean, there's so many people I know I can rely on and talk to, and they're going to be there for me, and that's all you could ever really ask is having a friend, and having family. So thank you so much for, giving not just me but my team your support and rooting us on. I hope that, we were entertaining for you and we were someone that you could look up to. That's been my biggest goal for Animal House. It's never been to win a championship. It's just been to be the best. The team that everyone wants to join, the team that people look up to and respect. And that's always been my goal. And I'm sorry if we've never met that expectation for you. But I hope we leave behind a legacy that inspires other to follow suit to that. So thank you all for being a part of my life. And I hope that we can stay in touch.